call the February 18th, 2016 regular meeting of Coffee County Board of Education to order. Going to get our pledge of allegiance from Lieutenant Ty Terrell and Lieutenant Commander Kevin Martinez.
Face. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Right. Face. Forward. March. Left. 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 Right. Left. 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 Right.
Appreciate that. Our invocation tonight will be given by Father John Cummins of St. Andrew's Anglican Church.
Let me first say that it is indeed an honor to be back again, a privilege to be able to open a meeting in prayer, especially when our children are involved, and they are the focus tonight. So I'd ask that we all bow our heads in prayer. Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight asking your guidance, your wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. Help for there to be meaningful discussion. Allow this board to grow closer as a group and nurture the bonds of community. Fill us all with your grace, Lord God, as decisions are made that might affect the students, the staff, the faculty, the alumni, and friends of Coffee County. And Lord, continue to remind us that all that is done here tonight, all that is accomplished, is for the pursuit of truth, for the greater glory of you, and for the service of this beloved community. We ask all these things and your blessing in your name. Amen. Thank you again.
Father Cummins. Please.
This time we'll review our mission and vision of our school system. Our mission is destination graduation for college, career, and life, and this is the purpose for which we exist as a school system. Our vision is an equitable and excellent education for every student in Coffee County. And we want to continue to work towards our mission and vision, and we're really excited to have all of our visitors here tonight. Thank you for being here. And at this time, we'll move into our special recognitions. Our first recognition is the Youth of the Year. Dr. Bernie Evans will present this recognition.
Good afternoon. It's my pleasure to introduce to you a young lady tonight from our Boys and Girls Club who received the Youth of the Year award. And I'm looking to see if Mr. Artis is in the room. I don't see her with us. Miss Charnay Pegues, if you would please come forward as our 2016 Youth of the Year for the Boys and Girls Club. Member at the club. And here's Miss Judy. Miss Judy, come on up here just a minute and explain what the Youth of the Year program is, and then we're going to hear from Charlotte.
All right. I apologize for this little incident at the club. Thank you. The Youth of the Year program is the highest honor that can be bestowed on any youth across the nation. Every Boys and Girls Club selects a youth leader that will represent their organization at a national conference. Charnay has been selected. She competed in several phases of a competition. I think she wrote 3 essays. She had an interview with a panel, as well as she had to deliver a speech. Her next step would be going to Georgia, where she'll go February 28th to represent Coffee County in a state Youth of the Year competition. Every level of the competition, she's awarded scholarship money. If she is successful and make it to the national level, that she'll get an opportunity to go to the White House for whatever president that'll be in office at that time. And she'll get a brand new car from Toyota. She'll be a Disney Youth Ambassador for Disney World, and she'll see on Good Morning America and a host of shows, and she'll even get to meet Denzel Washington, my future husband, in my mind. But it's quite an honor, and at every level, if she makes it to the final level, she will get a full scholarship to the college of her choice and represent Boys and Girls Clubs all across the country. So I am really, really proud to introduce Sharnae Pegues.
Good evening, everyone. What an honor it is to be standing here today before our wonderful Board of Education and to be so graciously introduced. I am very humbled by your public recognition of me as the Youth of the Year, and I thank you for allowing me to share my speech with you all today. On February 22nd, I will be traveling to Atlanta to compete at state level, as Ms. Artis said, for the Youth of the Year. I would like to thank the community of the people who have helped me to prepare for this venture. I'd like to thank the CEO of the Boys and Girls Club of Coffee County, who is Ms. Judy Artis, and Ms. Graves, our team director, for their guidance and their mentorship. Ms. Artis has been an open book, sharing her inspirational stories and encouraging me to go after my dreams and vision for our youth. I thank my family for their love and support and encouragement throughout my lifetime. I'm blessed to have parents and grandparents who shower me with love and instill morals and values in me. And little brothers who cheer me on when they're not trying to aggravate me. I thank the judges for their time and their valuable feedback, which has helped me tremendously in preparing to compete at a national level. I thank God for blessing me with all that I have, all that I am, and all that I will be. I give God all the glory for giving me the strength to take the devastations and pain that I experienced in my past and turn them into a tool that I can use to relate to youth who are fighting battles of their own. With that being said, here is my Youth of the Year speech. It wasn't easy. The journey was long, battling through the strongholds of heartache, humiliation, and pain. But I am standing here holding on to a word that has meant so much to me. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. My name is Sharnae Pegues, and today I'll share with you how that strength came to be. Before I moved to Douglas, my family and I were very prominent in the community of Florida, or Orlando, Florida. We seemed like the perfect family, but my father became a very vengeful man. He was jealous of my mother's talents and personality. He became verbally and physically abusive and withdrew affection. I remember my mom driving us home from school one day and to find detectives searching our apartment looking for evidence against my father. My father was arrested that night for rape and impersonating an officer. The next day, the news of what my father did became news, and we were evicted and given 3 days to move out. My mom was 6 months pregnant at this time. She protected us from reporters who stood outside our home and met with our teachers to ask them to watch over us. And she continued to smile and work to make our life be as normal as possible. But I later learned that she saved her tears from when she was alone at night. Losing family, sleeping in a car, and moving from home to home because we weren't welcomed in many places made me depressed and angry. I began to fail the 3rd grade, and teachers were ready to retain me. My brother would act out in tantrums and crying spells, and every day he'd ask, "Why can't we go home?" Those words tore me apart. They haunted me. I battled with depression, anger, suicidal thoughts, and low self-esteem. I wanted to give up. But I watched my mother pray every day that things would get better, and they did. She was my rock then and will always be a perfect example of the mother that I one day hope to be. When we moved to Douglas to live with my grandparents, our lives began to change. They helped us get into a home, and my grandmother tutored me every day. My grandfather showered us with cookies and ring pops, and he still does that to this day. God blessed my mom with a wonderful man who became my stepfather. His name is Derek Green. I've always considered him to be my real father because that's what he's always been to me. He's shown me what a real father is supposed to be like, and he loves me like I'm his own biological child. He protects me and respects me and makes me feel like a beautiful princess. He filled that void that my biological father left in me. I haven't seen my biological father in 6 years. That still hurts me deeply. But instead of being depressed, I became determined. Determined to be all that I was created to be and not let anything hinder me. That's why I love being a part of the Boys and Girls Club of Coffee County Region. That's the place where kids like me can go and grow into their fullest possibilities. As a junior staff and volunteer, I have seen so many hurting children who struggle with homework and who have many problems at home. My favorite responsibility at the club is to serve the children snacks and a hot meal. I first serve them a snack and then I eat a snack as well. When I realized that for some kids at the club that this was their last meal for the day, serving them became more of an honor than just my job. It gave me the highest level of joy. I've become a stronger leader at the Boys and Girls Club of Coffee County Region. Being able to hug a child who cries for no reason or settle arguments with kids who are acting out because they're dealing with problems at home teaches me that being a leader is more than just fulfilling a role. It's connecting, relating, and inspiring others. Because of what I went through, I'm able to relate and encourage other youth at the Boys and Girls Club and show them that they can take a story like mine, where I felt like David, fighting the giant of Goliath, who stood in the form of me, failing the third grade, depression, suicidal thoughts, and pain, and to fight back with resilience and faith to say that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And become an honor student who serves at the Boys and Girls Club and who's passionate about looking beyond today and seeing myself in a bright future. The future where I plan to go to college and attend medical school to become a periodontist and to one day have my own private practice. I wish I could have been a member of the Boys and Girls Club when I was in the third grade, going through my parents' divorce. I would have loved power hour and snack time and all the wonderful things that go on there. But I'm glad to be a part of what's happening there now. And I will always find a way to stay connected to the Boys and Girls Club. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you so much, Charnay. And I tell you, if this is a representation of the education system of Coffee County, I'm new here. Hats off to all the educators and teachers that have supported Charnay. Fine representation of Coffee County just saw. Thank you.
You sure you want to go to be a doctor? I think you do a great job teaching.
She has a mother teacher and a grandmother teacher.
That's great.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Great job.
Well
Thank you.
All right, our next item on the agenda is FCCLA Teacher of the Year. And we have Mr. Brad Reiner here to make this recognition.
Barry, you want to come on up here too? Dr. Lees, board
Yes,
members,
sir.
this is getting to be a habit, and I like it. I like to come and share the great news from CTAE with you. You know, we talk often about growing our own teachers, and Charnay, if you were just a little bit more articulate, I think you could probably make it. We're always proud when one of our own does something wonderful, and I'm introducing a young lady tonight who I was privileged to have as a classroom teacher. I had her in my drama class about 15 years ago, and as the CTAE director, I was privileged to hire her just very few short, 3 years ago, is it, Tara? 4 years ago now. Yeah, it's flying by. Tara, come on up here. This, ladies and gentlemen, is Tara Blankenship Carver, who was recently selected as the new Teacher of the Year for the Georgia Association of Teachers of Family and Consumer Science. Teacher of the Year in the state of Georgia. I know that we will hear a lot from her in the future. She's right now at the middle school, and I'm going to step back and let Ms. Berry talk a little bit about what goes on out there. But I just, again, want you to know how proud I am of Tara.
Thank you so much, Mr. Reiner. We are So blessed to have Tara at Coffee Middle School. She is an outstanding teacher. She is a true leader, and not only is she a leader, but she inspires her students who are in SCCLA and in all of her classes, whether they're part of the club or not, to go forth and to do good for the community. She is excellent with technology, with gathering the kids together. They want to prove that they can do things because of her. Like I said, she's an outstanding leader. We are so blessed to have her. Today, we look at young people, and I consider her young because she's the age of my oldest child, but about being dependable and responsible. People throw around those words so often. Well, this person is dependable and this person is responsible, but she truly is all of those things, and that is a lot, saying a lot for someone to actually step up and fill the role for those things, and she does a great job.
Thank you. I'm very honored. It's the Georgia Association of Family and Consumer Sciences, but we fall under the branch of the Georgia Association of Career and Tech Education. So hopefully, with my fingers crossed, that's the next step. So that goes in a bigger pool of all CTAE teachers. And I've already been trying to sales pitch this to Mr. Reiner to go to the ACTU conference in Las Vegas. I put in a proposal to share my Google training at the ACTE conference, which I've done at GATFAX and at GACTE. We have a wait list, so I guess I'm doing something right if I have a wait list for my class. But I'm really excited. I love the middle school. Middle schoolers, sometimes they're a little hard to love, but I wouldn't trade them for the world. They're something new every day. You handle them with care. They're like barbed wire sometimes, but they're wonderful. In all honesty, I couldn't do what I do, and I've said this in the article that they asked me about. I couldn't do what I do without these two. They are my backbone. They are my supporter 100%. I know that I can always step in Miss Berry's office and knock on her door and say, hey, I got a question. And she's always welcomes me with open arms. And that means so much to not only come home to teach, but to really come home to teach, because I feel welcome and comfortable and loved by my school system. And that means a lot. Thank you.
I want to clarify in case you're getting calls about our circumstance that happened today. I'm sure Dr. Lisa shared all of that with you, but all is well and children are safe and sound, and it was expeditiously evacuated.
And it wasn't raining.
Ma'am, and it wasn't raining. Beautiful day to be outside.
Thank you for a great job. Everyone at the middle school, great job. Thank you. And at this time, we'll recognize our star student and star teacher. Dr. Cummings, principal of Coffee High School, is here to make the recognition.
Good evening, Board, Dr. Lees, all community members and stakeholders. It's with great pleasure that we announce and recognize our star student and our star teacher this evening. And I just want to read you a little bit about the history of the star teacher and the star student program. Since its creation in 1958, the Georgia Chamber of Commerce, the Star Student Teacher Achievement Recognition Program, has honored nearly 25,500 high school seniors who in turn have chosen their star teachers to share in this recognition. Every accredited high school in Georgia is eligible to participate in this preeminent teacher-student academic recognition. To obtain the STAR nomination, high school seniors must have the highest score on any single test date of the three-part SAT taken through the November test date of their senior year, and be in the top 10% or top 10 students of their class based on grade point average. Nominees' SAT score must be equal or higher than the latest available national average on the critical reading, math, and writing sections. Each STAR student is asked to name his or her star teacher. High school star students compete for system titles, and star students in turn compete for the region-wide honors in the 12 star regions. Region winners and their star teachers are invited to Atlanta to compete for the state star scholarships and awards. Now at this time, I am very, very proud to present our star student for Coffee High School for this school year, and she'll introduce her star teacher, and that's Ms. Rose James.
So can anybody tell me what the SAT is designed to indicate? Anyone?
Aptitude.
It is. It's designed to not measure achievement, but your aptitude. And it's only based on your first year of college. So, a little bit about the SAT. It normally signifies in any given year that white males are going to do the best, grade-wise, in their first year of college. And every year, females outdo them. It does. The test is not reliable. It's not a valid standard statistically. And I'm very grateful for the scores. This is nothing. I just think it's very funny. And it's unfair. This test is very unfair. It consistently, if you look at it, people who have a higher socioeconomic status do better. Every single time. It doesn't matter what race they are, what gender, they do better. Males always do better than females, and then minorities always do worse on the exam. And this is not because they don't have the aptitude. This is because this is a test that you can study for. When I took the SAT, I took it at the end of 8th grade, and I made a 1750. Normally, when you take it, you should go up 200 points. That would have put me at a 1950. I made a 2190. I did that because I pulled out a book and studied for this test. You cannot study for aptitude. Aptitude is not something that you can learn. That's something that's saying, well, what is your ability to learn? If I can sit there and memorize 250 vocabulary words, that's not going to tell me whether I'm going to be able to pass a chemistry exam in college. So I think it's very funny. If you look at the ACT, it shows you the same thing. And that's sort of going to segue into my star teacher, is Miss Alyssa Yon, and a little bit about why I chose her. So when you get into academic classes, especially honors classes, they have a tendency to teach towards standardized tests. And I think that this year is going to be very instrumental, especially for you, the school board. You know that No Child Left Behind is no longer in effect, and the new policy that has been approved and passed gives not only the state but the local school board a lot of leeway with what you do with standardized testing. Ms. Yon taught because she loved to teach. There was nothing that was sat there, and this is going to be on your EOCT. This is going to be on your end of course exam, your SLOs, whatever acronym you want to throw out there. She was not concerned with that. She was concerned with, when I asked her how they determined the rhesus protein, she looked it up for me and told me, this is the experiment we found, these were the primates that were used, this was the different trials that happened. And that was something that was great for me, because a lot of times you have a teacher and they're concerned with the scores. And they're concerned with the scores because the scores have been used to reflect on their success. And that's not a reliable standard, that's not valid. And just in case you think that Ms. Yon didn't do a good job, that was the only class that I've ever made a perfect score on my standardized test. So you don't have to teach toward the test to teach the material. So Ms. Alyssa Yon.
This was truly an honor. I was very much shocked when I got the news today. So I just want to, when I first met her in 10th grade, when she entered my classroom, she kept me on my toes. And literally she did. And it wasn't one of those things where you say, well, Rose, this isn't going to be, you're not going to have to know this for the test, so don't worry about that. It was, no, come on, let's go figure it out. Let's go look at it. Let me show you where this is. And we actually put out a different textbook. We put out an anatomy book. We were teaching biology. But either way, it was just a joy to teach her. And I knew then. I said, she's going somewhere. She had these goals, and she was already, I think in 10th grade, you were taking college-level classes at that point already. So I knew that she was going to do something one day. So I'm very proud of her. When she came and showed me her acceptance letter for college, it was just exciting.
Would you mind sharing with the board and with everyone here what your plans are for next year?
Yes, absolutely. So I was accepted under early admission to Duke University with a full ride scholarship. They're paying for everything. They're paying for airfare for me to come back home. I've got everything covered, and the reason that I really like Duke is because they set you up your very first counseling session. You have a regular advisor, you have an academic advisor, you have a career advisor, and you have a graduate advisor. And each of the advisors only have 3 students assigned to them. So they manage 3 students your entire 4 years there. And what I want to go on and do, I want to major in genome research and policy. It's a new degree that was added 3 years ago. and it focuses on new legislation with genome sciences. So back when cyberbullying first came out, I know that you guys would know this, there were a lot of cases where it couldn't be persecuted because there was no legislation in place. Obviously, people knew what these kids were doing was wrong, but it was such a new technology, you can't persecute somebody if there's not a law against it. So genome sciences right now, they have a lot of questions about, well, we took this tumor out of you. Does it still belong to you? If there is a multi-million-dollar cure that's created with your cells, do you have any right to it? Do you have recognition, monetary? I mean, come on, this came from you, but do you really own it? And there's no laws in place. The BRCA gene right now is really expensive to test for. That's because there's allowed a monopoly in the system, because there's no law against that. If everybody was allowed to say, well, we made this test and it belongs to our company, then for you to have your blood sugar checked would be tens of thousands of dollars, because that was a test that was designed as well. So it's sort of just going back and looking through legislation. I want to do that, and I want to double major in Arabic as well, to work internationally, and then I want to go to Brown or Duke for graduate school and do their 6-year program to get my MD, JD, and be able to work in international law.
Wow.
Just send me 2 tickets.
Help my Panthers out, please.
And she has a brother coming up just as smart.
I got a question for Dr. Lee.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
What's the procedure on every kid taking the ACT and the SAT?
Well, it starts with the PSAT in the 10th grade. Everybody takes it. The entire sophomore class takes the PSAT. And it is it's kind of a benchmark test, you know, and it doesn't, it's kind of lets students know what their strengths and weaknesses are. Now, from that, moving forward, they can take the SAT or the ACT as many times as they like. You know, obviously, certain courses would be wise for them to get certain math courses behind them before they take the SAT or the ACT. But the PSAT, it starts with PSAT in the 10th grade.
What they taking in 9th grade?
I'm not sure about any type of benchmark exam in the 9th grade, but I know you got the regular standardized tests we take for the state mandates, being the course tests in certain content areas in physical science, in 9th grade lit, and in Algebra 1, if I'm not mistaken.
This young lady right here made a 17 and 20. I thought that was what you said.
That was out of
First
8th
time.
grade.
Eighth grade. I would like to think that is standard, but that's not standard. That's not standard. That's what she's going to do.
You can take it.
So my question is to
Yes,
you,
sir.
how do we get this out to the parents?
Well, that's a good question. One of the things we do it through advisement periods, which is every Tuesday at the County High. We have different sessions, advisement sessions, and not only that, we have content area nights, we have financial aid nights, we have college nights at Coffee High School, and these are publicized through our website, many times through Facebook, through call-out messages, and also advisement, you know, actually tell the children themselves, the students themselves. So we make every effort to get those types of that type of information out to the general public, because obviously, you know, with all that is to offer, it's a lot, but we're working really, really hard, and we're always looking for better ways to get that information out.
We were talking about this as work section.
Mm-hmm.
I thought about if we had a career day, there's no math, no science, no nothing, and let every kid take their SAT many times they want to. The problem I'm running into, student athletes.
Mm-hmm.
They just think the kids can get a scholarship just on athletic. But this lady right here don't play athletic.
She'd probably be good at it if she did.
The sports granddaughter, she don't play athletic.
Mm-hmm.
I see her going to Princeton.
Right.
So my question is, you think it's feasible for us to have just a career day when we bring in all the colleges, all the branches of the military? So everybody ain't going to college, we know that.
Mm-hmm.
But the pathway
Right.
we present to them,
Mm-hmm.
what other matters do you have for the parents?
Well, it's ongoing. We have people from colleges in the buildings constantly. We have different military branch representatives in the building almost on a weekly basis. Again, this information is gotten out through parent content nights. We have, when I say content, it's different. We'll have a math night, an English night, a social studies night, a science night. We'll have a financial aid day. We'll have apply for college day, where we did last semester at County High School, where we invite different colleges around this region in Georgia to come in, and so students can get introduced to the application process for college.
So on math night, just take math, how many parents show up?
Not as many as we would like. Not as many as we would like.
Over 10?
About that. It's not probably good over. It's not nearly as what we want. The bigger question, I think, is the parents we need, because normally the parents whose children are doing well, they may not come, but the parents a lot of times that we need in the buildings are not the ones we see. And the ones who do come are the ones who children most of the time are doing well.
Dr. Newell,
Yes, sir.
when kids not coming to school, what do we use?
It's
Yeah,
Let them know.
Phone.
Phone,
We have a call out.
call out.
Right.
Do we use that? Call out?
We use that. I think we also do that.
Use the shout point
in the form of these different meetings. We use the call out. We use email, Facebook, text, call out, shout outs, Facebook, peace jar.
So you doing it all?
But every medium that we can utilize that's at our disposal, we utilize to get the information out, because we understand how important it is to get that information out. And matter of fact, I think I had a list of all the things, and it's extensive, that we do in terms of informational types of, I'll just share this with the board if I may. Different types of things that we use to get information out to parents and community members.
One more question I have.
Yes, go ahead.
I got several.
Go ahead.
What's the percentage on the ACT as sophomores take that test as a system? What's the score?
Well, the scores can vary. And for NCAA, for an athlete, it's a sliding scale. As a matter of fact, I have that information here. It shows you what their requirements are. If a student is a student athlete, is trying to get into a college or university, and what the NCAA requirements are. And they have to have a certain number of credits in certain content areas, as well as a certain score in the ACT or the SAT. It is a sliding scale. The higher the core GPA, the lower the test score have to be.
So my final question,
Go ahead.
when you become a senior,
Mm-hmm.
and you take the SAT not your sophomore year and your junior year,
Right.
but you wait till your senior year, and your test scores come in late, why does that happen?
Well, sometimes students don't take it, even though despite sometimes our best efforts to advise them to start taking out the test as early as they possibly can and take it as many times as they need to get a qualifying score, some don't take advantage of that opportunity. And we utilize tutorial help like USA Test Prep, where they have to log in and they can study at any time. They can log in anywhere on a computer, as long as they have access to a computer, and study for the SAT or the ACT.
So the kids know they're going to college, they take them hard classes today.
Well, they don't have to necessarily, that's great if they do, but the NCAA requirements doesn't require that they take the academic coursework as extensive as Ms. James did here. But there are certain courses, in according to the information I just passed out, that they're going to have, but it's doable. It's very, very doable. But it's just a question of diligence, it's a question of follow-up, it's a question of taking advantage of all available resources, and it's also a question of, getting help from those outside the school system at home. And I know, at home, parent, guardians, grandmothers, brothers, sisters, whomever, because we're working really, really hard at County High School to get this information out. Teachers are offering tutoring help, before school, after school. And so we have a lot of vehicles and a lot of resources to help the student be successful.
Now, I have a question.
I got some answers. I got some answers.
Student athlete.
Yes, sir.
Do you think, in your opinion, that they need study hall?
Here's the way I feel about study halls, and I've had some experience doing this as a former coach. Study halls, mass study halls are not as effective because what happens is you must have a teacher certified in that content area if you're going to be truly effective. Now, what utilized many times, which I think could be most effective, is for a student to go to a teacher one-on-one or small group. Before school, after school, immediately after school. And sometimes, you know, if there's a certain need, maybe they may have to be a little late for practice. And I think coaches understand that. But if you just put, say, 30 kids in a room and say, tell them to study, that's not going to be very effective. And if they're going to do that, you need to have a teacher certified in that content area, because not all students need help in the same content. They may need help in math, they may need help in science, social studies, or in English. And it works best to have somebody certified in that content area that's going to facilitate the study help. But it can be helpful, but in the right setting, it can be helpful.
Dr. Lee,
Yes, sir.
you think y'all can set up something for all students out
Well, I'm confident that Dr. Cummings and his staff, and they'll work towards offering the best opportunities we can for our student athletes and all of our students.
All the students.
Yes.
And I'm impressed with Rose. You said you started studying for the SAT in 8th grade.
I actually waited until my junior year.
All right.
I sort of knew that I was going to have summer break.
Yeah.
But I have a suggestion.
Yeah.
A lot of times, I'm sorry, a lot of times you take the PSAT, you have to take it in 10th grade. And unfortunately, that's a little too late. And the PSAT, it doesn't really measure how you're going to do on the SAT. It tries, it's a really good approximation, but it completely cuts out the writing section, and that's a very large portion of your score. That was my highest section. That was my brother's highest section. So it's just something, you know, and if you have people. The writing section is people who are reading your essay, and it depends on how they react to your essay. When you take the SAT, not the PSAT, but the SAT before 8th grade, before you're enrolled in high school, they'll wipe your score. So if you completely bomb it, if you do terrible, if you make a 900 on the test, or they just give you, you know, a 600 because you showed up that day, they're going to wipe it. It's not going to affect badly on you in college. And I really think that if the school system would consider making it mandatory for 7th graders to take the SAT, that may seem ridiculous because they're in 7th grade, but that's a great indicator of how they're going to do on it later in life. And not, the SAT unfortunately is a very large percentage for athletes, for everybody. It doesn't matter who you are. They're getting into any kind of scholarship program. They consider it for star student. They consider it even when it's a leadership position. I ran for the national office for FCCLA, and my test scores were considered. That has nothing to do with CT. I mean, it has things to do with CTAE, but it didn't have anything to do with my leadership position or my qualifications for that particular job. But they consider it. So I think that would be a really good thing to look into, because then people really would know, well, hey, this is how I'm going to do.
Great
there? I
idea.
like that.
There's one thing I want to mention before I may, please. We got Ms. James's grandmother back there. She's played a very large role in Rose's academic success and just her success as a young lady. And I want to make sure, you know, could just please just wait your hands. Tremendous job, and we appreciate all her hard work in following up and making sure things get done. And she, you know, she's a valuable asset.
Dr. Cummings,
Yes, sir.
how many students do you have at Cover High in the dual enrollment program?
I don't have those numbers with me, but it's highest tripled in the last 3 years. The dual enrollment between Wiregrass and South Georgia, and it's about, I'd say about 300 and something.
336.
Yeah, something like that. It's tripled. It's probably tripled over the last 3 years.
So they college ready.
Well, they earning college credit that does not count against their hope, which is a tremendous advantage. You know, and it depending on their educational goals, you know, you can go the dual enrollment route, or you can go the advanced placement route. So it just depends on the student's individual goals and what their academic course they want to take. But yes, again, that's just another one of those things that is available, but you have to meet a certain criteria in order to be eligible for dual enrollment.
What's our graduation rate?
87.7 at County High. That's what it was this last time around. You're always trying to do better.
We appreciate it, Dr. Cummings. Good job. We appreciate your effort. Appreciate you, James.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
You get that work. Sorry, Jay. Let me I need to back up real quick. I get it started, I guess, when I say special recognition. I'll skip that number 4. We need the adoption of the agenda. So none of that counted? No. Have to do it again. Because there we are.
Congratulations.
Have a motion to adopt the agenda. Motion and a second by Ms. Laura. All in favor? All right, moving on to 7, Dr. Lisa. We stood in those names too long. I know I was.
Resources and support. At this time, we'll hear a presentation from staff from several of our schools on our Habitudes program. So at this time, Dr. Bernie Evans will come up and present information about a behavior intervention program called Habitudes.
The board members and Dr. Lisa, you all are aware of the Habitudes program, and we began implementation this school term at the middle school and at our high schools. And what we thought we'd do tonight is bring a rep from each of those buildings in, just to give you a brief update on how the program is going and how it may vary in implementation from each school. I'm going to ask Ms. Jill Pruitt to come forward first from Coffee Middle, and then the other ladies that are here and Mr. Gillis can follow. And we'll go from there. And she has a handout for you.
Thanks for letting us come tonight to present what we've got going on at the middle school. Mr. Johnson, if you have any questions that we can help you with at the middle school, we start dual enrollment stuff, information, and everything about registration and getting ready for PSAT and SAT. And we're doing the compass, and we're doing all kinds of stuff now in 8th grade. So I just want to let you know, you come over anytime and we'll show you our program, okay?
Maybe we'll start doing SAT and 7.
Well, there's the TIP program from Duke University allows certain students through their test scores to have eligibility to take SAT or ACT, but it's only certain students that can take that. But anybody in 7th and 8th grade can take PSAT, so we just delivered those scores recently. So we have a lot going on at the middle school this year. It's great. I also have Dr. Darcy Clark with me too. We're the representatives from the middle school, and she brought the book. I don't know how familiar you are with the Habitudes program. It's the images that form habits, and so what we have is we have a large advisement calendar for our whole school year, where we take care of the Habitudes program, which is character ed. We also do bullying prevention, and we also do career exploration and awareness. So we stagger our lessons. There are 13 Habitudes lessons in the self-leadership book that we're doing this year. And so what we do is it's all taught by video. And then after the video is shown during homeroom, there's time for discussion. And in this program, they give us the activities and the discussion questions, and they give us film clips to show, just to enhance the actual video that we show. So we actually extend our homeroom period during Habitudes Day, so we have enough time to cover the content. And that's pretty much how we do it. The teachers don't have to do a lot of preparation time with this. They spend about 10 minutes looking over the activities, deciding for their homeroom which options are going to be the best to discover the content. We have Habitudes posters on every grade level hall. We have them in our commons, we have them in our cafeteria. We try to keep the images present because that's what the focus is the images that have the character qualities that are associated with them. There are some things we're doing really well. The one thing we're doing is we're doing this with fidelity. Every homeroom on every hall does this every time we have a lesson. And we have the counselors and the administrators are there to check to see if they need any technical help. So we make sure everybody's getting a lesson. So we're all using the same vocabulary, we're all using the same images, and therefore we're learning the same information. There are some things we can improve because this content is really complex. It's very tough. It wasn't written for middle school level. So that's one of our challenges, is bringing the content down to their level where they can understand what we're trying to teach them with the character qualities. It's not like we just present one quality. It's not like we just say, today, we're going to talk about kindness. It's much more complex. I know we've got 3 lessons left, and we're talking about, choosing your friends wisely. We're talking about time management. We're talking about the things that can make you into a better leader. So it's very complex, and we need to be able to kind of break it down for them because there's very high vocabulary. Also, we do need to help label the actual images. You know, it's good if they see the images and they know, oh yeah, I had a lesson on that, but we want them to remember what it means. So we're going to try to do a better job next year of attaching the label to the image. But we feel like it's a great program. It is full of inspiring stories that Tim Elmore, the leader of Growing Leaders Company, has put together, and he does a great job on the video with inspirational lessons for all of us. So, y'all have any questions about middle school at all?
As World said something a moment ago about the 7th grade.
Yes.
You ever thought about that? Going down the grade level?
Well, instead, you talking about the SAT?
Yes.
The SAT is available, or the ACT is available for 7th graders through the Duke University program right now, and they take it every year. They have to become eligible though based on their previous scores. Like whatever their milestone scores are, if they qualify in any subject area, there's only certain students that are allowed to take it that young. I'm not aware of any other program at this time that has come through our school that says that 7th graders can take the SAT, but it's certainly something we can check on. I know they can take the PSAT, but not the actual SAT.
And the PSAT, that'd be fine too. Dr. Lees,
Yes, sir.
ISSP, we have it in all levels of school, right? Elementary, middle school, and high school.
Well, at the elementary level, sometimes it's not called ISSP. It may be more of a timeout where the child may spend either part of the day or a full day or maybe a couple of days in what middle or high school we might call ISSP. So in middle school, of course, we do have official ISSP, and high school we have ISSP.
I like to see, this is my opinion, in middle school and high school and 9th grade, I would like to see when a kid enter that ISSP, I don't want them to do no work, no math, no science, no nothing. All I want them to do is code of conduct. I'm talking about teaching. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Yes, sir. Thank you. See, they go there to just play, but make them work. Make them learn how to act. And when they go to alternative schools, I like to see that implement over there. I do. I want to see it. I want to see something change. We're career academy. We can change charter system. We can change anything we want to. And then if they keep going, make the parents come with them. Because it's too much distraction.
Yes, sir.
So you can't be afraid to tackle these issues. You got to tackle them, you got to hit them head on. Yeah, if you go to alternative school, you time out, ISSP, you don't learn how to act. Because the teachers can't teach. You just working in the class all the time.
That's right.
So you got to do something drastic.
Yes, sir.
And don't be afraid to do it. See what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Now, code of conduct is in that handbook. It's in there.
Oh, yes, we have the rules in the handbook.
If you check the statistics, when they go to alternative school, I guarantee you, they repeat offenders. And when they get to be 16 and 17, they're going to want to quit school. So if you don't train them now, they're going to rob you later. See what I'm saying?
That's right.
Some of these just can't help cause the way they are.
Well, that's the point of the habitudes and the character education and leadership programs. We're trying to develop that in our
I like that, but
Yes,
add one more.
Yes, sir.
When they go to those schools, teach them, make them stand up before the class. And when I was going to school, you act up if you want to. You be standing in front of 50 people crying, your eyes out. How bad are you now? They got to learn how to act. If they don't learn it at the house, maybe we should teach them.
I agree.
Now, if you're scared and safe, you say you're scared, but don't be scared. Teach them. They'll stop going to ISSP.
Yes, sir.
I'd have to agree with Mr. Johnson. And I think that after listening to the program about habitudes and stuff, I really like it. But my concern, because I know we're trying partly to do this to meet one of our goals as a charter system, but also for the good of our children, that 15 minutes every so often, or is it every Tuesday, or?
Well, like for the habitudes, there are 13 lessons, so we do it 13 times.
You know, and I'm not, you know, the program is good, it's a good program, but 15 minutes interspersed here and there, I don't see it being that effective in changing a lot of behaviors. I mean, especially with children that have problems, you've got to do more of an intervention type program to get the type of behavior you want out of children, and to learn how to behave.
We've got to consistently train them.
This is a good. I'm not. This is a great start, but I would like to see us build on this.
Exactly.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I think that if you look at just a start, and for most kids, this is a good program.
Mm-hmm.
I think what I'm hearing from everybody is that, but you have some kids, this isn't enough.
It's going to take
And
more than this.
that's a whole nother subject,
Yeah.
and I think that's something we can definitely talk about. I don't think habitudes is gonna solve that, so I think, but I agree with y'all. I think we've got other stuff we need to do, in that area. I'd like to be talking about that. I mean, I don't wanna let them get on with their thing, but I think that's something that we do need to, get a start on trying to get our handle on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We also have some other representatives, Ms. Anderson from Freshman Campus, and Mr. Gillis, if you could be on deck. Followed by Ms. Rachel and then Ms. Tony.
I really think, and Dr. Evans told me when I came in, a lot of this is going to be repetitious because the program is, set up a certain way. But one thing, and Rose is already gone, but one thing that she did say earlier was about writing being such a huge component. So I do know for me, and there are several other teachers at the 9th grade, that we don't do this. We do this on the second Tuesday of the month. And, because a lot of times we do have to address other issues in advisement. But one thing that I've been doing with my group, and I know several other teachers have, is we allow journaling as a part of this. And that is a really big, it's a really big help for them as far as their writing ability. So another thing that we do is we have televisions in the cafeteria and the media center. So these things play consistently. They're on a scheduled, rotation of showing. But I agree, as a teacher, I agree. I love the program, but I sometimes find myself, I'm a little bit more engaged sometimes than they are, because they have to be reminded of what we did last time to be ready for what we're doing this time. And it would be ideal if we had more time to do this with them. But I do think it's a great program, and much of what she said when we do the same thing is just set up just a little bit differently. But we do, they do some of this on the announcements. Miss Warren, our counselor at the 9th grade, she says a lot about this on the announcements. And again, it's a great thing, but I think if the teachers had the time to do it, there are other things we could do with those lessons that would probably drive it home a little more for the kids. Journaling, because a lot of times those problem kids, sometimes they just need to get it out, and they don't want to talk to you about it. So not only does it help them with their writing, it helps them with their being, in the room. And sometimes there's things they'd be ashamed to tell you face to face, that one of these lessons might actually, if they had a chance to just write something down, they know you're going to read it, but that's a little bit less intrusive than if they have to say it to you face to face. So again, that's what we're doing at the 9th grade. Any questions? Are we? Okay.
Good afternoon, to the board, Dr. Lisa, and everyone. We pretty much do the same thing that Ms. Pruitt just said. Also, at my school, we do have a lot more time to kind of spend with the kids, so we spend about 30 minutes. We do watch videos, go through the lesson. I mainly do the lessons every Thursday, and if I'm not able, I'll ask a different teacher to do the lesson with the students. And we do try to spend that time doing a written response. And one thing we did do to kind of bounce off this, I had the students write down like 3 goals, some of their visions that they had for the future, to just try to, come up with a plan of how you're going to obtain that goal. But those are some of the things that we do for our kids. And we do it every Thursday for about 30 minutes.
Hold on a minute. I'm sorry, Mr. Gibbs. How many repeaters and offenders do you have?
Oh, we have a couple. We do a couple. And with this program, and I'm kind of glad that we do have the opportunity to come share what we're doing, because it has given me a little more ideas of things that we can do to extend what we're doing for the kids, to basically look at their behavior. Because with my students, we are trying to come up with multiple ideas. One thing that I am doing with my kids, I do have a couple of mentors who come in to mentor the kids. I will say I feel like my referrals have gone down, and we don't have as many, like blow-ups with the kids, but I do have some mentors coming in for my students who have a lot of written referrals and discipline issues. And I feel that piece is helping tremendously when they come in with the kids one-on-one.
This is over 10, 15.
For repeaters?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely say at least 10, yes. And I have some on the way now that are repeat. It's like a revolving door.
That's what I know. That's what I'm talking about. What you think one of the biggest problems is this year?
Well, I would definitely say a lot of times if we go back to look at the structure of the family dynamics, a lot of the people raising my students are the grandparents, and the grandparents are trying to do everything that they possibly can. But many of them do have some health issues, and that is a struggle. Some of my kids, I feel that they really want that attention from their parents, and they're just not there. And if you read the research, a lot of times they'll tell you the grandparent or aunt or guardian who's stepping in for them, a lot of times they retaliate against that person because they mainly want the attention from that parent. But a lot of my students, when you look at the family dynamics, the parents.
That's what Mr. Jones talked about. I just want to hear that because I already know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We, as far as habitudes at the College and Career Academy, we do it in our advisement, and it's done, we have advisement with habitudes specifically either once or twice a month, depending on the lesson plans and to make them fit in the year. But our advisement on those days is about 35 minutes, and they use the lessons. They'll review what the words, the visual, character development, leadership development thing was from the last one, and then they'll do the next one, use the videos. Videos are the big part of it that leads the discussion. The ones that I see and look at are just good points of reference anytime you're having a conference or meeting with students. I used the habitudes theme the other day when I was conferencing with a student and a parent, and it was the habitudes about the get. Doesn't always mean if you've got a get, it doesn't always mean it's going to lead to success. You got to have hard work too. Just because you get and talented, don't mean that that's going to be that's going to make the way for you, pave the way. You got to have work ethic too. Work hard for your talent to be useful for you. And I was sharing that with the student and a parent the other day. It's good stuff. It's leadership information. But some of our teachers even had made the comment too that sometimes they have to work pretty hard to break it down to get the students to understand it. So they'll take that theme, it's deep, and you move it over and make examples that may be more understandable. Yeah, right. But that's right. That's good stuff, though.
My question to you is a PINS code. How's the software working?
Doing good. Pittsco's doing good. Our science, the science and math are the two main rooms that we use at Pittsco, and it's just good stuff. Come by and see it, and visit, watch the kids working the hands-on. You wish you had enough, it would be great if you had funds to do that in basically all your science classes.
Are you ready to move into your new building?
Excited about it.
Are you going to offer some more courses?
Absolutely. It'll open the door for students to complete pathways in whatever areas that they choose. Those entry tests are important. We don't talk a lot about ACT, SAT, and the Compass is our entry test, and that's just what we put our focus and our attention on, is we want our kids to do our academics at College and Career Academy, and we want them to pass that Compass, walk through the door, and take whatever coursework work that they need for their future and their career. So that's
So are
big.
you gonna offer welding?
That's right, that's right. So we'll have top of the line welding lab, and even right now we have the mechatronics and engineering, you know, and industrial wiring, hydraulics, robotics. But at the new school, one of the big star attractions will be the welding lab. It's going to be top of the line welding lab.
That's a lot of money, you know that, don't you?
It's done. It's important. Thank
Good
you.
career.
That's right.
Thank you. Thank you. Ms. Ray? Oh, okay, sorry.
I'm Rachel Howell, Great Counselor at Coffee High. I think everything has been mentioned already, so I'll go through that what we do. Much like the middle school and the other school, we have a large advisement schedule for the year, and there's so much material to get out to the students. We do the same thing as, SAT might be on one day, or just a space set aside for student athletes, scholarships, whatever the material is we're getting out. And then we get those habitudes lessons in there as well. So we do that during our advisement period. How we keep those concepts alive, again, we use the poster, so that's visual recognition for the students to review that. And then we ask our teachers to use their content area and bring it back up. So one thing we'd like to get started soon with the language arts department is to start using those, like we talked about writing in the SAT portion, is to use that to sort of revisit these concepts. So hopefully that's something we can get started soon. All of our multimedia aspects we use our scroll, which is on the TVs. I think the freshman campus said they do that, where we play the lessons. Dr. Cummings for us on Habitudes Days, he does the morning announcements to preview that for the students. We use our website and our newsletters, all of that, to share that with parents. I brought some testimonies. So our teachers really like the program. It's very user-friendly for them because they play the videos when they have their discussion. Lots of teachers say the students connect with them and they can get familiar with it. Again, the issue is just bringing that material up. Again, and reiterating, I guess the time frame issue you're talking about is keeping that going. They really like that it puts into practice life skill lessons, and discusses their future. I think that's it. Any questions?
How much involvement do you have with the parents?
As far as habitudes or I would say it's all inclusive. They're coming in daily. We're getting all of our media, so we're sending out newsletters. We're putting shout points out. We're using our website and our Facebook page. And then, of course, CHS Guidance has our own where we put specific, advisement for the guidance office. So I would say that's just an all-day, everyday thing for us.
Thank you.
Now, Dr. Lee, something maybe you might consider moving this down into the elementary level. I think if you can catch kids early on behavior, would be more effective than waiting until they get to middle school and they've already molded into those behaviors.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I know they'll testify by that point. If you bump somebody in the hall, they're ready to fight. We've got to stop that early on. They can't fix it. Can work on to fix it, but it'd be a lot easier to not have that programmed into them by the time they get to the middle school.
Yes, ma'am. The next item on the agenda is the PBIS. We've got Dr. Banks. He's going to talk to us about PBIS.
Okay. Like I say, good afternoon to the board and Dr. Leese and all stakeholders that are here tonight, all of my colleagues. I want to start this by indicating that we all come from various backgrounds. And early intervention is very important, and I pretty much echo what you said about starting at the elementary levels and working on all the way up to habitudes. But I would like to introduce PBIS tonight, but before I get into that, I would like to share just a clip where every life has a story. every child is going to have a story. And from pre-K or Head Start on up, they're developing that story as they progress in life. What I've seen, I'll say 15 years being in Coffee County, early intervention is it should be mandated. And the reason I say it like that is because I deal with people from all levels. And when I come across a kid in the early years, and they're already trying to cut their wrist, trying to commit suicide, threatening another child with a gun, or I'm going to shoot you with a gun. These are all parameters that I think it can't wait until we get to 6th grade. It has to be addressed early. So the program that I'm going to talk about briefly, and there are tons of research, there's a plethora of information pertaining to PBIS. Can I go to the next clip, please? Really, when you think about positive behavior, if we have kids, we all want our kids to express positive traits when they're in school, no matter what their level is. But the definition that I came upon in doing this research is that positive behavioral intervention and support is the application of positive intervention and system changes to achieve socially important behavior change. And what I see early on, the behaviors that we are dealing with, it's beyond what I dealt with when I could assign lunch detention or after school detention or early morning detention, or if I can put them in timeout, or if I can put them in ISSP, or if I used to do this, I used to paddle them behind, corporal punishment, home suspension, and then you get into adding more time. Last time I suspended you for 1 day. Now I'm going to suspend you for 3 days. Progressively, it's going to get more and more days until what normally happens. 10 days depending on the tribunal. Okay? The research says if a child in Coffee County goes to the alternative school, there's a high correlation that child will not graduate in this system. Those are our most at-risk kids. I've seen kids go at alternative school in 6th grade, 7th grade, then again in 8th grade. It's too many times. The behavior does not stop. It only gets worse. And I get afraid for the teacher who has to deal with that child, because the child is so volatile or sometimes socially maladjusted that it can hurt not only the teacher, but other students. So I think that this program, and we look at the key features of PBIS, social skills instruction, positive and proactive discipline, social behavior expectations, active supervision and monitoring, positive acknowledgement, fair and corrective discipline. When you talk about fair, sometimes what you're going to see is you're going to have a disproportionate number of minorities being placed in programs because of their behavior. And those are some things that we need to address. And I think that PBIS is one avenue that we can tap into that might help resolve some of our problems. Also, parent training and collaboration. Let's face it, 25 to 35% of our population are young parents trying to raise kids. And they don't have the parenting skills to really be effective when the kids get into school and continue to have problems. I had a parent that come to the office this morning. Child's in 2nd grade. Same old parent. I always ask the question, is the father in that child's life? The response this morning, I don't even know who his father is. So if that child is not targeted with intervention at 2nd grade, chances are by the time he gets to 9th grade, he's going to be a high school dropout if he's not a juvenile delinquent and locked up before that time. So these are some things that I think positive behavior PBIS can actually target. A main concern in schools that we have in PBIS or from parents is that when the parents report that their main school concern is the safety of their child. Is my child secure under your program when they leave my home in the mornings and I want them to come back home in the afternoon safe? The other main goal of PBIS that I have in green there is to increase teaching and learning for all students. Sometimes one child takes up 85% of your time where you can't, where it interferes with teaching. Those of you who've been in the classroom know exactly what I'm talking about. And if we implement PBIS, it's pretty much not going to make all the improvements in 1 year. It's a multi-year obligation. So it's going to take some time. And do we implement it just at one level? It has to be universal. It has to be district-wide. All levels need to implement PBIS if we're going to do it. You know, and I like Mr. Reiner's email. Mr. Reiner always says at the bottom of his email, he says, we're not in it for the income, but we're in it for the outcome. And I think that if we targeted this program, according to the finances, if we target this program, these are some of the attributes that we're going to find if we implement PBIS. Increasing attendance, improving the academic performance, and so forth. But at the end of the day, end of the year, we want a win-win for all families and for all stakeholders involved in the schooling process as it pertains to the behavior of our students. And so the entire team, not just one person, but the entire team wins, and our entire district of Coffee County Schools, we all win. And that's the end of my slide on PBIS. I have something that I wanted to share with the board, so you can see just a glimpse of what PBIS entails. This comes from Ms. Wendy Jowers at Westside Elementary. This is a matrix, sort of like a calendar, that highlights some of the goals and some of the things that they're striving to do at Westside. And this is something that we can do throughout all elementary schools. Just an idea. The matrix says be respectful, be engaged, be prepared, and be responsible, how to earn a good rep. And those are the scores they have in all the categories. The descriptors there will indicate whether that child gets points for doing what the program indicates. And once they get a certain number of points, they get incentives, they get rewards, etc. But I just wanted to give you guys an overview of PBIS. I think it's something that could be beneficial to our students in Coffee County. Our research shows that it does decrease discipline and increase student learning and teaching. And that's what we want to do, maximize learning and teaching for all students. Any questions? Yes, sir.
You know, the spirit is real. We've been talking about this for 45 minutes. The Lord knows what He's doing. So we better act up on some of this stuff.
Yes, sir. That's right.
Just talking.
Well, I'd like to see us move all in, system-wide, PBIS, all the way, and go systematic with it, and become the best in the state at PBIS. If we do that,
Well, we can do a lot of flexibility in scheduling in elementary school. I mean, you can shave off 5 minutes off a couple classes, you know, two or three times a week, and extend some time for just talking or getting through some of it. I mean, these are things you'll do with your students all the time, and they're great. But there are some things that you just have to really get into and let the children talk.
Yeah.
I mean, Miss Pickisa's family is a prime example. We want to think in our minds. It's the poor. It's this group. It's that group that always have the family problems. Mrs. Pickis came from when she was married. Before they were a very middle class family. She was a teacher. You know, who would have thought that this was going on in her life? This happens in our children's lives of every socioeconomic level. And people need to be aware that we need to be in tune, that it's not just this child that needs this kind of intervention. It's all of
that's
them.
right. And that's what I think is the power of PBIS, is it reaches all of the children. And we talked about moving character ed down to the elementary schools. This is character.
Yes.
This is
I
exactly
still say you need to put a lot of more than just a matrix. It needs to be. They need some time with it,
right.
Just like they're doing with aptitudes, only on a lower level.
Exactly.
That's what I want to ask real quick. I'm trying to understand what we do. I've got to have to, but now the PBIS, we were saying lower level, and then you said all levels. What is this going to go right through middle school and high school as well? And if so, does that play on Habitudes, or is it a separate program, or take the place of it? What is it?
It's a separate program from Habitudes.
So it's supposed to be a complimentary program, or
I think when I say system-wide, we could start with the elementary grades and work up, move into middle school's already doing some things, aren't you?
Yeah, we've got Trojan tickets that are working great, especially in sixth grade.
That's what I'm saying, this is sort of, you're saying this is a complimentary program to Habitudes at that level?
It's a positive reinforcement program instead of like condemning and punishment. It's responding to the good they're doing.
Yeah. And showing them the correct way. A lot of times they just don't know the correct way.
Absolutely.
They just don't know.
All the teachers, administrative teachers, everybody.
I think it's a great program. We dealing with some great stuff here tonight.
Yes, sir.
We don't need to miss the opportunity to.
All right. Well, I appreciate it.
So are we gonna vote on this or what?
Well, I don't think that require a vote tonight. This was informational. All right.
Some good ones.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
See y'all. Thank y'all.
Tomorrow's another day.
Yeah, they had their kids here, I just didn't have a blizzard or something, they were here for a while. That's the one always gets got there, I mean, everybody else left. Now I'm stuck.
Really doing some good stuff over there. West side.
Not released?
On the consent agenda, we have minutes from our previous meeting. You had a chance to review the minutes from the January meeting at the work session. We also have on the consent agenda the financial statement from July 1/15 through January 31/16. We currently have a fund balance of $9,957,058.23. I would add that this is the most robust fund balance that we've had at this point in the year in approximately 5 years. So the school system is financially healthy as we've been in at least 4 to 5 years. So thank you, board, for your efforts to help the school system regain a solid footing financially.
You need to thank your staff. They're the ones that are pinching pennies.
That's right. Out-of-state travel. We've got some out-of-state travel. 2 groups from east side will be going to Jacksonville, Florida. And 1 group from the high school, the NJROTC, will be going to Wilmington, North Carolina to tour a battleship and learn about its mission and name. And I'd just like to add, we're very proud of our NJROTC program. They do a fantastic job developing leadership. We have surplus property. Used office furniture, roofing equipment, supplies. I'm not going to read that entire list, but we read the entire list at the work session. That will be declared surplus and will be placed on govdeals.com for the public to purchase. E-rate bids. Last month, at our last monthly meeting, we brought forth bids for telecom services. Dr. Newell, do you want to describe these bids?
Yes. We are looking at telephone service. We recommend going with ATC broadband.
They were the low bid.
Right. Also, ATC broadband was the sole bidder on our wide area network. Verizon was the low bidder on our cell service. And Alma Telephone was the sole bidder on, let's see, our bandwidth. Which one did I miss? So just those three services.
And this information was presented last month and has been reviewed by the board for over the last month. New policy, we have a new policy that we placed on the docket to be reviewed for the next 30 days. This is descriptor code BHB, nepotism policy. It's required by state law. It's a law that's covered under, it's a policy that's covered under state law. We're just adding this to our policy manual to ensure that we have that in our policy manual. And that is all of our consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second. Motion by Mr. Giles, second by Mr. Preston, all in favor?
All right. I would ask the board to approve the personnel recommendations that were presented in the earlier work session and executive session.
Motion to approve the personnel recommendations.
Motion to approve the.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Burrow, second by Mr. Giles.
I'd like to add and remind one that that included the substitute teacher list.
All in favor?
All right. Thank you. At this time, do any of our board members, do you have comments for tonight? Anyone?
I'll say real quick, we've been joking all night about getting out of these meetings early, for some reason, but, we've had some long meetings a few years ago dealing with budget stuff and things like that. We had a lot of hard decisions and hard discussions to make. And, I think we're seeing some stuff with the budget, some stuff with some of the programs that we did implement that are starting to pay off now and things. Although we got a long way to go, there's some positive things happening, and I think that helps. When you start to see some progress, you start to see some lights at the end of the tunnel, it does make this system function better, and it makes these meetings a lot easier. I appreciate all everybody here's done for the last few years to get where we are now.
It's nice to see us continuing to move in the right direction.
So I appreciate everything.
Just got one thing to say, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
I didn't see the parents get involved in the school system.
That is, I would say, Mr. Johnson, that would be one of our biggest problems right now. Probably the hardest to correct, but yet that would make the most improvement in the school system.
We're gonna keep nothing at it. Till they do, I believe they'll do it. Please.
Yes, sir.
I'm coming on budget. Where you at in
Budget, we are currently reviewing the staffing at each school. We are halfway through the schools, I would say. We've got a full day of budget meetings tomorrow. We've got, I think, 5 budget meetings tomorrow with various schools. We've met with we've spent the last few days, we met with each department this past week. We went through their budget line by line. We did line by line with each department. And so we should be finished up with the schools by the time we have our March 5th budget retreat. So we will have, that'll be good for the retreat.
You got an idea where we're at?
As far as the budget,
Last year or?
it's coming in very close to where we're currently at. We're not seeing particular increase. We're trying to keep things as balanced as possible. And so I'm real confident that we're going to be in good shape by the time we finish with the budget process. And yes.
Just a quick question. Would it, and Mike, you may could speak to this, would it be a fair assessment based on that for us to look at our monthly detail report to kind of see, we can kind of maybe expect to be about there same time this year, next year? So I do the quantum physics or this time this year, next year. Would that be a fair way to do it? I mean, was that, it's something on paper and it's something we can look at and put our hands on and go, okay, this is where we are right now.
Yeah, you can look at that detailed report and see if we're at 57% or if we're
right, that's what I'm saying, just kind of get a ballpark of where we are.
You're asking
But we need
a
to,
year ago.
Yeah.
right, but we need to keep in mind, we've got to have to absorb that additional $150 per month premium increase.
Right.
That's not the employees, it's ours.
That's right.
Increase for all employees?
No, for just classified.
Just classified, okay.
Just the classified that are taking state health insurance.
Okay, but it's not their premium, it's our employer portion.
Okay. So that was your figure.
But we need to,
350.
350,
No, it's,
I mean, 350 people.
on $150, it's $603,000 annual.
Okay, okay.
And then the other $100 actually calculates out to just a little over $400,000.
Okay, so we're at $1 million.
So you're at $1 million of just insurance premiums going into next year. More than
Additional.
Yeah, wheels.
Right. But we had the same last year.
Mm-hmm.
We got it again this year.
Yeah.
All right. Any other comments, board members? I would like to announce that we had our first meeting yesterday of the Superintendent's Teacher Advisory Committee. We had a representative, a teacher from each school here yesterday, and we met with our teachers, and we got a lot of feedback from our teachers, and it was a great opportunity for them to be able to open up. We put them in small groups where they could tell us what they think about initiatives we have going on in the school system, and tell us ways that we could improve. So it was a great day for getting feedback from our teachers. So that was our first meeting with our Superintendent's Teacher Advisory Committee. And I'd like to thank our staff for helping organize that.
Anything interesting out of it that you didn't know?
A lot of content. I mentioned, I know when I was with a group of teachers and getting feedback, they mentioned a desire for character ed in the elementary grades. We've already heard that theme several times. Dr. Banks, you were in that session where we heard the teachers say that, express that they would like to be able to implement more character ed in the elementary grades. So just a lot of feedback about morale and teacher retention and things we can do to improve to help retain teachers in the profession. So a wide variety of questions that were asked, and we made it a very open session in small groups so that they could provide us feedback. So it was a good session. All right.
All right, there's nothing further. Adjourn.